Because the fact of it is, Labor, they've done a pretty average job. But the other thing it means is renters are getting a good deal. So I wonder if people are going to flock to Victoria in order to get a good deal, because you got to compare apples for apples, not apples for lemons. And a lot of times, if the price is too cheap, it's a lemon.
Like the tradies like to have a chat. So if you got out and had a chat with them, they'd be the first people in the world to tell you how good or how bad the builder is.
We use data, negotiation, due diligence, so you never overpay for a property, and every deal stacks up against the real market, and that's what's important. So even if you put 100 grand in,
Yeah, but he didn't need George. He didn't need that money until the end of 23 to settle.
Yes, exactly.
All they were holding was his deposit for 25 grand for 2 years.
And you know what? In crypto, you could make 1,000%, you can lose 2,000% the next day, right? Okay, guys, me and my team are about to go live, so make sure you grab your beverage of choice, sit down, and you're in for an amazing show. Okay, hello and welcome to Money for Life podcast. Hi, Adam.
Hey, George.
I'm here with Adam. Adam, a dear friend and business partner. We're here talking properties again. Thank you for joining me. We really appreciate your knowledge and your experience, because that's pretty cool. I mean, look, between the two of us, we've done over $3.5 billion worth of property deals in the last 20 years. That's a lot of deals.
It's a lot.
So I could say,
a lot of happy customers.
Yes, exactly. And exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my presentation.
You got a presentation tonight, George?
Yes. Invest like the top 1%. 5 tactics you need. We're going to talk about how to choose the right builder. We're going to talk about how to invest a little bit of money and get a lot back, because that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I want to talk about tonight is leverage. Right. Hope you can't hear the construction in the background, but you got this in the background here because I'm in Canggu at the moment, and that's the way it is. And
you can't hear it here.
Look, it's a long weekend, so I'm very curious. What are you doing over the long weekend? Are you going away? What are you doing? Type in the chat, type on Facebook, tell me. So welcome to our Thursday night weekly live. I'm going to go through some stats. Now, Dutton is not doing too well at the moment. So the Roy Morgan...
He started off well, didn't he?
He did.
Started off.
Yeah, so that the Labor have got a 55.5 versus the Coalition 44.5, the two-party preferred vote. Now, this is the deal, though. We all know that stats are never 100%, and each time they've said Trump was going to lose, he won. So I think a lot of the stats are always left-leaning, and I wouldn't really believe everything they say here. Because the fact of it is, Labor, they've done a pretty average job, and they hang out with the Greens, and I think we need a change. So I'm hoping we do get a change, because at least Dutton's on top of immigration and things like that. So they reckon primary support for Labor's increased by 2.5, but knowing Albo, he's going to do something really stupid very soon, and it's going to change this straight away. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
But yeah, I heard someone report about what a boring sort of campaign this has been. Both parties are just playing super safe. Nothing's really standing out.
Look, I reckon this campaign has been a snowfest, because no one's done anything, right? Now, normally Labor come out with some stupid ideas like banning negative gearing, the voice, and other stuff like that. So they haven't done anything. Liberal normally, come out with let's stop the boats and reduce immigration, but no one's done anything. It's been a snowfest. It's been very boring. I agree. So this is what the CEO of Roy Morgan says. The Albanese government has won all 3 weeks of federal elections so far, but I don't believe in these stats personally, and I think it's very early on. It's been very boring. Let's see what happens and hopefully they'll get it a bit more exciting. It's nothing like the election cycle in America, is it?
No, it goes for ages. But also,
Now,
I think voting opened yesterday, I believe. So,
yeah,
people are able to
early
start putting
elections,
their
and
votes.
someone's already been arrested for intimidating voters.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Now, another housing market joins the $1 million club. Adelaide median house price hit the $1 million mark, joining Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Canberra in the $1 million club. So there you go.
Wow. Who would
I
have
know.
thought that
Who would
5
have
years ago?
thought that little old Adelaide was going to join the $1 million property club?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So you know who's next, don't you?
Well, it has to be. Well, who else is
Has
next
to
on
be
your
Perth.
list?
Perth's
Yeah,
next.
Perth. It's almost there.
Perth's almost there. Perth's going to join the $1 million club very soon, and we're probably going to help it by getting more properties there. So
Yeah.
there you go. Now, you look at the RBA pricing. So RBA is expected to cut rates, cash rate, by 3 to 5 times this year, lowering mortgage rates and boosting borrowing capacity and borrowing power, likely fueling demand and purchasing prices up. So you look at the CBA cash rate forecast, and then you look at the latest market pricing. So everyone is betting that it's going to go down to around about 2.5 to 3.5%. And 2.5 to 3.5% is very, very low. You look at this graph and you look at 2022, how low it was then, like
It was almost free money, wasn't it?
almost free money. You know what I mean? But I like rates going low, but I see when I started investing in property, it was 9%, and I did very well. People have done well in a lot higher. If it goes down to 3.5, 2.5%, wow.
But watch how many people will flood back into the market once those interest rates drop down. It's just going to push prices straight back up. Is that you? Are you cutting out there, George?
I hope.
Is that George cut out or me?
It's George.
Oh, it's George, is it? Thanks, Michelle.
You better take over.
Better take over. Well, I have now. Where's your slides gone?
I don't know.
Um,
Kimberly?
and we got those slides, so I could probably try to talk through them. I haven't seen that the show before.
Sure, I'll share my screen.
What's happened to George?
He was getting quite political there. I was like, well.
It's Bali internet.
Yeah, it would be. So $1 Million Club, we've done that one. Next one, that one. Housing scapegoat. Well, yeah, this is all probably more George than me. So how about I just take over and I'll just talk about something totally different.
Yep. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Oh, you're back.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Look, I'm sort of back. I'm back on my iPad.
I was just about to take over then, boss.
Oh, look, I don't mind if you take over at all, but I think if I stick to my iPad, and what I'll do is if I can get my team to share the PowerPoint, because I don't have everything here, and what we'll do is continue on. And yeah, so look, the beauty of being in Bali is sometimes I don't quite have the internet that I've got here. But New South Wales housing crisis fueled by stubborn emptiness. So the Australian media finds a new scapegoat. What they're saying is they're blaming empty nesters for what's happening with the housing crisis. Now, you and I both know it's not empty nesters that's to blame, it's immigration. Right? Because you have a look at this. If we go to the next slide, New South Wales population change. Now, look at this. Now, see that blue line? That blue line is immigration. And you can see the impact immigration has got on New South Wales when it comes to the rolling annual. It's massive. So you can clearly see from here that the empty nesters are not really the problem, but it's really the immigration. So you can clearly see from here that the empty nesters are not really the problem, but it's really the immigration. immigration that's the problem that's doing this. And you look at this immigration as a percentage of New South Wales population growth. New South Wales population growth, that red line, that red dotted line, is what it is. In other words, it just doesn't do anything. It just stays the same. It's when we get immigration, it changes. And then you look at the next slide, Sydney population projections. It's from immigration that it's going to go up to 8.3 million people. And if we didn't have immigration, we'd go down. Now, look at this little meme. 30 years approaching 5%. Leak good news, China news. Don't know if you heard recently, Trump just said that he was going to take it easy on China.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he do this?
It happened the next day.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting that he did that. And the reason he did that is because of what's happening with the 30-year Treasury bonds. They're creeping up to 5%. And what he's done now is said everything's going to be fine with China. He's going to negotiate because he wants to fix that market. Now, look at this. New South Wales and Queensland tops for having worse affordability when it comes to renters. You know what the best place is? Victoria is the best place for renters. So if you're renting, Victoria's the place to be. Because that's where it's cheaper. So what does that mean? Well, what does that mean is, one, you're not getting a good return in Victoria as an investor. But the other thing it means is renters are getting a good deal. So I wonder if people are going to flock to Victoria in order to get a good deal because of it. You know, as you and I have spoken, Adam, when you look at this graph and you look at what's happening, there's actually a lot of opportunities in Victoria as an investor, because whenever there's a gap in the marketplace, that's a good thing. So there's a few select suburbs in Victoria which are excellent, and we're looking at going back in and investing in Victoria. Because, you know, for a long time I was saying Victoria's the no-go zone, and the reason being is because Victoria was dropping, and now it's dropped through, and there's some suburbs coming through and going out to 7 o'clock. And that's the thing with the property clock. You've got to look at what's going up, what's going down, and really be on top of it. And that's what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, you just have to look around the country. Your Sydney's, Queensland, SA, WA, all those prices sort of entry level, 700,000 for house and land. Where Victoria, you're in there for the low 500s.
Yeah, and look,
A house, like, this is not a townhouse or an apartment. You can get a house for that sort of money.
No, there's some very good buying there. Very good buying. Now, look, I would say that the best buying at the moment in Australia, I would say, is we've still got some amazing bargains and really good property deals when it comes to Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, because, you know, we've been focusing on that for a while. And I would say there's a lot of stuff in Melbourne at the moment which is looking really good. And I'm excited. And I'm actually, me personally, going back into Melbourne after shunning Melbourne for so long. So I'm looking at buying some properties in Melbourne. And what I'm doing, which is a great strategy we can talk about later, but you know, one thing about what you can do when you can get, you can put a deposit down on land that's unregistered, and it's a very small deposit, and you get to keep that land for a long time until it registers. And then after it registers, then they've got to build it. And you've got all this time with little or no investment where you got all this growth in capital growth. And you can literally get amazing returns doing this. And this is a very underutilized strategy that people should be using, because it's a great way of having a very small commitment and getting a far outweighed return, which is great. And we're going to be talking about this later on. And we're going to talk about, someone's saying, is it land banking? It's not land banking, it's something similar. It's not quite land banking. And what we're doing is we're going to be talking about, we're going to be going through some case studies after this. First, we're going to talk about the top 5 builder red flags no one talks about, which Adam's going to go through. And then I'm going to be talking about how you can get a small deposit and make a big return. I'm going to talk about real life examples of people in our group that have done this and how you can do this as well. Thank you. I'm going to let you take over, Adam. You're in charge now.
Thanks, George. I was about to take over before when you dropped out, and I was like, oh, here we go. But yeah, okay. So number one, don't take the builder's word for it. You can see advertising and marketing out there. Everyone can show how good they are as a builder, but how do you know how good they are? Like until they actually build the house and prove it for you. There's a lot of companies who do inspections, or like a company we use is called handover.com. If you go and speak to them and ask them, okay, I'll give you an example. I did a renovation on my house, and I asked this company called handovers.com to recommend 3 builders who I should go through, and they told me which builders they do the less defects. They pick up the less defects for, and that's the builder I chose to do my own house. So don't just take the word of what the builder says for you. The second one is beware of the race to the bottom, is what we call it. If you go and see, yeah, that's what we call it. So if you see 2 houses similar size, but one's $30,000 to $50,000 cheaper, there's a reason for it. They're cutting corners. They don't have it may not be a turnkey product. It's just they're trying to earn your money to help their cash flow. I know there's a company out there who almost went bankrupt. I'm not going to name them, but they're very, very big. They were doing deals. They were doing contracts for 1% margin at one stage, just to keep their turnover going, because they're such a big machine. They needed a certain amount of sales per month to keep the machine fed. So yeah, just be careful if the price is too cheap. There's a reason.
Yeah, look, this is what I say. You got to compare apples for apples, not apples for lemons. And a lot of times, if the price is too cheap, it's a lemon, right? That's the fact of it. You know, building costs have gone up quite a bit. And if you see something that's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. You got to be very careful. And a lot of them use false advertising of loss leaders and stuff like that. And then they don't finish the product properly. It's not turnkey. I'll only let you finish because you probably already.
But how often do you see a house advertised like 280 square meters for 150,000? But all it is just it's a very basic shell of a house. You need to get everything up on the inside as well.
And you need a roof on there as well, don't you?
Yeah, you do, and walls, and probably a front door.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Maybe a lock, depending on where you live. Ask the tradespeople. So when you go on a job site, say you want to build with ABC Builder, find out where they're building, drive past a job site. Chances are you'll see one of their tradespeople. Like the traders like to have a chat. So if you got out and had a chat with them, they'd be the first people in the world to tell you how good or how bad the builder is. Yeah, they're so-and-so's. They haven't paid me for 2 months, and I'm just still here because they keep telling me they're going to pay me next week. But if they come and tell you, yep, it's a great builder, well, that's a good sign that the builder will continue and finish the product.
Yeah, and look, that's part of what you do out. You go on site, you talk to the tradies, you work it out, and you keep an eye on things.
Plus, we've got 20-year relationships with a lot of our builders too. So
yes,
the fact that so many builders, I forgot my stat, but there was a lot of builders closing down every week.
Look, the last 2 years, we've had more builders close down than the last 20 years. So yes.
I had the stat somewhere. It was huge. But the fact is, like, not one of our builders has closed their doors. So, due diligence pays off. Research pays off. Staff turnover, that's a good one. So if you find out that, for example, they have a lot of staff turnover, or even more importantly, supervisor turnover. The supervisors are the ones who pretty much run your building job for you. If you've got a big turnover of your supervisor, that's a big red flag. It's something behind the scenes is not running smoothly. And then this is my favorite one. This is the best one out of all of them. And believe it or not, I've been done by this one before. Stupidly me, but years ago. A builder asking for a claim before it is due. So for example, your slab's about to go down next week. The builder says to you, hey, the slab's going down. Can you pay this installment up front or in advance? Don't do it, because that's your first sign that a builder is going to have some financial issues down the track before the house is finished.
Yeah. Well, look, what I'd like to say is when you've got a group like us, we check all that for you anyway. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, of course. But these are
Yes.
just things
But what I'm saying is the smartest thing you can do is get a team of people that are going to be on top of all this and check. Because if a builder asks us for money up front, we're going to say no. We're not let our clients do that. You know what I mean? You know, and the thing is, as part of a strategic buyers group, you know, we use data, negotiation, due diligence, so you never overpay for a property, and every deal stacks up against the real market, and that's what's important, because you want to make sure the deal stacks up the real market, but you don't want unrealistic sort of results.
And you don't want to get stuck at the end either of having all these extra costs or the builder going. You just don't want any issues. Like property investment's supposed to be easy. Like there's no need to make it hard or to make it hard for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one is, next slide. So this one here, we're going to talk about the issues when you are entering into a contract with, you know, if you just go and find an ABC builder, you want to make sure it is a full turnkey product. You don't want something that doesn't have, you know, driveways, landscaping, fencing, all these extras, which you don't think about at the start, but they're very important at the end.
Look, they're very important, and it's important because, you know, fixtures and fittings. So, for example, my parents, when they built their house, they didn't really speak a lot of English, and we built this house, and we had cement floors for like 3 years until we could afford to get carpet. You know what I mean? Because they didn't include carpet, they didn't include driveway, they didn't include the path around the house. It was ridiculous.
There's so many. If you drive through a new estate, I can guarantee you'll see a couple of houses with sheets over the windows because they haven't had blinds included. So they've just done the quick put a sheet over to just get them through. But other things like TV antennas, you don't think about a TV antenna, but most people want to watch TV. So, you know, those things are important.
They do, exactly.
Next one is site costs. If you see someone, it says, if you see a little asterisk or a star at the bottom, it says site cost allowance or provisional site cost, stay away. You need to make sure that your site costs are locked in as much as they can be. Rise and fall clause. This is a new one that's come out since COVID.
Yes.
I had to learn very quickly about rise and fall. I'm like, what does this even mean? So what it basically means is if a price of something goes up, the builder can then pass that cost on to you. They call it a rise and fall. They're saying, so if that price goes down, the builder will pass it on to you.
Which ain't going to happen anyway.
Do you think that would ever happen if prices went down? The builder's going to pass it on? I can guarantee you.
So what have you done with our builders, Adam?
Yeah, so we've got our builders to lock in rise and fall clauses that they basically do not exist.
Yeah, and look, and that's one of the things that we do part of due diligence is make sure none of this sort of thing happens. None of the shenanigans happens.
Yeah, well, it's a new clause that got us all off. Yeah, it was, I think, over COVID because prices went up so much. Provisional sums, yeah, PS allowances. So once again, like I mentioned last time, if they give you an allowance of, let's say, $25 per square meter for tiles, and you go to the tile shop and you can't even get a tile for $25 a meter, you'll be paying an extra cost between the 25 and what you choose. So provisional sums are also something to watch out for, because I just don't like them. It just means they can put the price on whatever they want. The builder can.
Yep.
And price not locked in. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's more of a rise and fall sort of fixed price. So a lot of building contracts will give you sort of like a sunset clause or some sort of date that you must start within 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. With all of our builds that we've locked in for 12, 18 months down the track, we've got the builders to lock in and give us a guarantee that the prices will not go up. So the price that you sign up with is the price that you'll end up with in 12 months' time.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're my 5 sort of takeaways for that one.
Okay, so now let's go through some stats and some real life deals, what people have done, because I think this is really good to know. Okay, Adam, let's do this. Okay, start number 1. Task name. That's actually the address. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yes, Deception Bay.
Yep, he's actually an Adelaide guy, very good with electronics.
So he put money down on his land or pretty much the start of 22. Land wasn't ready until the end of 23, so he almost had a 2-year wait. But he bought it for
how much deposit would you put down on this? Typically,
Where's Inception Bay? 20 grand, 20.
5%.
Maybe 10, because that would have been about 250. So maybe $25,000.
25 grand, yeah, okay.
So he's turned 25 into 305.
Yeah, but move to the outside. How long did it take? Because it moved to the right
almost
side.
2 years. So he bought it at the start of 22 and settled at the end of 23. So it was almost just under 2 years he had to wait.
Yeah, so 25,000 into 300,000, right? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT on the rate return.
305.
So if I made 305,000, I paid 25,000. It took 2 years. What's the rate of return of 25,000?
1,222%. See who's faster, ChatGPT or me?
1,120%.
Oh, we went
So,
too far.
wait. 560% per year.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. But let's be real. Let's be real. You're going to put 100 grand in once you buy it, right? But not straight away. So even if you put 100 grand in,
yeah, but he didn't need he didn't need that money until the end of 23 to settle.
Yes, exactly.
All they were holding was his deposit for 25 grand for 2 years.
Now type in the chat. Where else can you get 1,000% return?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because because I really like nowhere. No, you can't. The thing is, I want to really get this through to everyone, which is really clear. This is the sort of stuff we're talking about. Now, you know why I'm doing this in the private group? Because in the public group, people would think that I'm lying. People would think OnlyFans, yes, apparently OnlyFans. But the fact of it is, these are the sort of returns. Drug wholesaler, crypto if you're lucky. Yes, maybe OnlyFans. And you know what? In crypto, you could make 1,000%, you can lose 2,000% the next day, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the land in WA, we need to put 1,000 to 5,000. Yeah, this is great. Tell me the next one. Go.
So Burpengary, which is also sort of north side of Brisbane, Kane and Denise, we all know them. They've been around a long time. Same thing. They bought it midway through 21. They settled, the dates are back to front, but they settled obviously, what's that? December 22.
Yep.
And the 366.
Yeah, so they've made 1,000%.
Yeah, but what are they? Yeah, probably 300,000 for their land, possibly. Oh, Kane's here. Yeah, Kane can come in and talk to me if he wants.
Yeah, come and join, Kane. Tell us what you've done.
G'day, guys. How you going?
Good, thanks.
That's good. Yeah. So, Burpengary, so that value 910, that looks lovely. Bring it on.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is what we're doing. And Kane, you've just been doing this.
Kane, you're real. You can tell these people.
Yep.
Yeah. Kane,
yep.
You've been doing this over and over again, not just once or twice, have you?
No, that's right. So we've got 4 with you guys now. We've got 6 total. Over here, we've got 1 in New Zealand. And then we're just starting on our super now for our next one.
Wow, beautiful. So look, funny enough, I caught up with a client here in Bali who's retired off our program. His name's Barry. Adam, you know Barry?
Yeah.
Yes. And he's going to be joining us on the 2-day event to receive his sword. Because when you retire, you receive his sword. Kane, you and Denise are probably going to be very close there too to receive.
Yeah, I'm thinking next year. So we're going to aim for having 10 properties next year.
Beautiful. Well, it's exciting.
So, Kane, just a quick one. How much deposit did you pay on your land back in 21? Like, was
you're
it
asking,
250?
You're asking the wrong person. The right person sitting beside me.
How much? I'm just looking at the numbers. What was the land? Low 2s, 220?
Denise will know.
Denise will know. She's racking her brain and she can't think. So, but because it was COVID house, obviously, so it was a big delay between purchasing the land and getting the build started. So, but yeah, I honestly can't remember.
Well, I'm estimating your land to be around that 220 marks. You would have maybe paid 22,000 deposit.
Yeah, it'd be something like that. Yeah.
And then,
like you say, we sat on that for a while and it was growing. while we're sitting on it.
That's
So,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
we've still got the other one, Adam, WA. I think so. Something happened with WA. We own the land. We're still waiting on the building approval. We actually think maybe the builders lost our contract or something because
No, I chased it up last week. He told me, he guaranteed me we're done within 4 weeks. Hang on.
yeah.
I can
Yep.
tell you exactly.
But we've made so much on that place already.
Yeah. The amount
You know,
of
we
money
don't
on the
care.
land. You've made how many hundreds of thousands on the land?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know, we just look forward to, obviously when it's finished, we're just going to pull equity and buy another house. So it's going to be, we're going to be in a good position.
Kane, you make it look very simple and easy. Like, it's just like,
I'm very chilled.
yeah, you're very chilled. You're very chilled. And look,
and I've got a good boss sitting beside me. She does all the bookworks, and you know, she's going through all the super stuff and that at the moment, getting that all sorted. So, you know, it's just paperwork.
What I'd like to do, Kane, is just ask you, because we've got a lot of new people.
Yep.
And a lot of new people, they get a property and they're not sure. Because, I mean, me and Adam, we do a lot of work to make sure we get hit after hit. What do you say to people that are, a bit nervous, they're not sure it's the right property?
Oh, it's like when we go into our breakout rooms, and like I've, spoken up a few times to people and that and told them what we've done. It's just go for it. Like, you just don't hold back. I put all my faith in you guys, and it's worked 4 times, and it will work another 4 times for us. I've got no doubts on the system. And okay, you're going to have your ups and downs, but like this one waiting for WA. But like, as long as we can afford to carry it, like we're paying the interest on the loan for the land, but we can afford that. We're making money. That's all that matters.
Well, the builder gave me an update about 4 weeks ago saying, Adam, it will take about 6 weeks before the permit. The Shire stuff is out of our control. I said, thanks, mate. He replied back with a love heart.
Yeah, there we go. Well, at least you get the
you
response there
basically
anyway.
You got 2 more weeks to go, according to
Yeah.
I'm on it. I haven't. I knew it. I knew your job.
Yeah, no, but like I say, mate, we're just, it's just a waiting game, and things do happen with property. Not every property.
The land's gone up so much since you bought it. So even if you
Well,
sold the land, you're gonna make a couple of hundred.
Well, and when we get the rent coming through, like, so we paid $490. What was it? $493 for that property. House and land package completed. The rent we're going to get on it when it's completed is going to put us positive cash flow.
700 something.
Yeah. So laughing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of it. If you get land that's unregistered and it takes longer, by the time it finishes, it's going to be positive instead of negative if it's quicker.
My only regret is I didn't get another one in WA straight away.
I'm the same boat, don't worry about it. We're on the same boat.
We're in the same boat, Kane. I'm always, when I look back, I just always wish I bought more property and had,
But Kane, did you have any concerns about buying off the plan, like a house and land, just buying land unregistered? Was that ever a concern of yours, or you just jumped in?
Nah. I knew it was going to go up in value. I didn't expect it to go up near as much as what it has. But yeah, and at the time that was the only way to get them. So still, you just got to jump in and get it. Whatever's coming along. Okay, if there's some finished houses, great, grab one. But if it's not, still grab one.
Yeah, so I think it's the way of the future. In my own personal opinion, is buy it now, pay in your 20 grand or 15 grand deposit, and waiting for 2 years and seeing what happens.
Yeah,
the market can only go one way.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, when it comes to property, it's the matter of you want to get as many as you can early on and just wait. That's all you got to do, right?
Yeah.
The longer you have them, the better. That's just the fact with property.
Yep. No, definitely.
Excellent. Kane, thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
I'll stay on that job for you, mate. Don't worry.
Okay, Adam.
You'll hold me to it. I have to see him every month, so I have to bloody get it happening, don't I? He holds me accountable.
Cheers.
See you, mate.
Okay, we're going to go to a private group now, and we're going to talk about real deals that we've done and how much money people have made. So everyone watching our show, thank you so much for watching. It's great. We're going to go to a private group. We're going to go through real life stuff so people can see real deals and see what happens. And then we're going to go into our little breakout rooms. Thank you.